Just a little bit about my background. I have a lot of kind of sports turf background. I have a bachelor's from Purdue University there in West Lafayette. Worked for the Indianapolis Indians, Texas Rangers, and then most recently I was with Mariani Landscape in Chicagoland area there, and then also the Milwaukee Brewers for about the last 4 years. Started with the College-L in February, March of 22, kind of newer into the sales world, but used a lot of these products as, kind of an end user. They're good products. So a little bit about just ArborJet and Ecology-L. ArborJet, was formed in 2000, big into the emerald ash borer treatments. You guys obviously sell a lot of the kits and the equipment for emerald ash borer, also the chemistries, the insecticides. So we have a broad spectrum there. We're the manufacturers of those products. So kind of cover our whole landscape industry. The Ecology-L products, you can see here, you might have seen some of these logos in the past. We're going to talk basically all today just on Hydretain, so our soil moisture manager product. But we also, have these dust mitigation, pond clarifiers, seaweed extracts, and then our BioPro line is a whole array of, kind of foliar specialty needs. So I kind of wanted to just, show the drought monitor map here. Also, as I'm going through this, if anybody has questions, please just take yourself off mute and hop in. If you have a question, just don't be afraid to ask. Water conservation is top of mind for everybody right now. This includes all policies, strategies, and activities to sustainably manage natural resource fresh water. So this protects our hydrosphere, meet the current needs, future human demand. I always like to throw that on there because we all got to be conscious of our water. But, this year, especially kind of in Ohio early on, the drought and throughout the whole Midwest, kind of hit everybody pretty hard this year. And it's still, I think we get our timely rains and things like that. It seems like, we are still in a drought in a lot of the area. But I wanted to just bring up, the four perspectives of drought. So there's meteorological, so that kind of measures the different precipitation due to normal, and agricultural. So that refers to the situation where the amount of moisture in the soil no longer meets a particular crop. So that's a lot of what our industry goes off of, right? So here's, I think, the most current U.S. drought monitor for the Midwest there. You can see Ohio still is, some of that is abnormally dry, moderately dry in our territory. Iowa has been specifically dry throughout the year this year. And then also I'm up in Milwaukee, so we're still pretty dry up here. We've had our timely rains and things like that, but Madison area has been hit hard, St. Louis, especially all throughout the year. As of recent, they got a bunch of rain, but you can kind of see it's hit the Midwest pretty good, and kind of the whole East Coast and West, Denver area, west of that, they've had some weird weather this year with some rains and things. But I know you guys might all be national here, so try not to stick to just the Midwest. Moving on here, but why does the drought impact plants? So, the physiological effects on how drought stress affects your plants. So the first response, is to close the leaf stomatas. So that's kind of the opening and closing of the plant. That's what takes water in, nutrients in. This reduces the water transportation and acts as a defense mechanism. So when it's really hot, it's going to close. With the stomata closed, carbon dioxide is not absorbed, photosynthesis is curtailed. So without photosynthesis, we're not growing, right? So the reduction of photosynthesis limits your growth, therefore, increases your susceptibility to, insects, pests, ABAC, stress, things like that. So this is kind of where I jump into the product Hydretain that you all are interested in. What exactly is it made out of? So hydroscopic humectant is what Hydretain is made of. So hydroscopic, absorbing or attracting moisture out of the air. I always explain it, if it was hot and humid, you pull a cold water out of a fridge, it kind of sweats on a hot day. So it's pulling that moisture out of the air and turning it to water droplets that the plant can then use. So that's the hydroscopic part of the humectant. So the humectant then is a substance that absorbs and helps sustain. So think toothpaste. The toothpaste will keep things wet. And I'd be happy to send any of you demos, that are looking to, you guys as end users are going to be putting this product down. If you're, an applicator, things like that, it's good to, you get questioned a lot. What is this powder that you're carrying around sometimes? But this is the raw active ingredient of Hydretain. So I got a little video here next that I'll show, and you can kind of speed up the process sometimes with, breathing on it. There's humidity, there's water in your breath. So it would then speed up the process. We like to do this at like trade shows and things like this to show what exactly this powder would then turn to the water droplets that the plant can then use. So this video is showing it right now. It's kind of a sped up process, but that's the granulars on our microscope with the powder. It turns to water droplets, the plant can use there. So if I was to leave it on, your table, it would just be a puddle of water there. But, I typically do it on like a Post-it note, and that Post-it note will stay wet for a month or so because it just keeps pulling water towards it. So going off of what Hydretain is, like I said, it attracts moisture vapor in the soil and condenses the vapor back into water droplets the plant can use. When we want to make sure that we get it watered into the plant, this is, for example, we're gonna go over a bunch of plants that it uses, but this is just kind of a turfgrass generic plant here. But you water it into the soil, it attaches to those root hairs, and any water vapor that would be due to evaporation that's losing it, it kind of attracts it and turns it to water droplets the plant can use. So we don't like to call it a wetting agent. There is a little bit of surfactant in there to help penetrate kind of that thatch layer and things like that. Wetting agents specifically are more surfactants or penetrants. They really want to penetrate through the thatch, and then they want to disperse kind of the liquid, flatten it out, so the water can get down through the soil. You guys maybe have heard of super absorbent polymers. I'm sure you guys even maybe sell some. Think of a super absorbent polymer or hydrogel that swells. Think of a diaper, right? You see your son or daughter walking around in a diaper, and when they went to the bathroom because it swelled, right? Those can kind of be a little different because if you say you had them in a potting planter or things like that, and they're sitting on the bottom, they might actually be pulling water away from the roots of the plant. So again, here is kind of another illustration how it works. Evaporation happens as it heats up. It kind of evaporates up into the atmosphere. So if it's not treated, it'll then grab onto those root fibers, turning it into usable droplets the plant can use. Kind of wanted to just talk about some of the timings, things you can use. For so long, we have always, and I'm pushing this as a drought product, but this should be an all season long product. I think you have your winter recovery. You can for desiccation. Things get dry in the Midwest. If you're not snow covered, things might dry out. New planting establishment. People are still planting this fall. Can save your warranties, things like that. Obviously, we have the summer stress, fall temperatures, specifically seeding. I'll kind of get into some of these timings for everything. But what this product really does, you got your side-by-side photos there. I'm sure there was probably some fertilization here too, but it does help, minimize your drought stress. It improves your stress wilt recovery. I have a photo here later, but I think one of the best things that it does here is once it does get to drought, it has a bounce back ability better than just, your standard fertilization practices. And you still do need your fertilizations, but I'll get into where this product helps out your fertilizers. But high wind, pest pressures, poor irrigation coverage, like I said, increases your nutrient uptake, maximizes seed germination, and then it's safe on vegetables, safe around kids, safe around pets. No issues there. So if you are doing vegetables and things like that. But here's a great photo I wanted to show kind of on the bounce back ability. This was in Wisconsin here, just outside Milwaukee. Applied mid-June at the 9 ounce rate per thousand. This was the liquid. So we watered the application in after, left without rain until recent rainfall. You can kind of see that strip right where he did. Look at the neighbor's yard. I mean, this was June in Wisconsin. It was dry here. The bounce back ability is where you see it really come back. Here's just another, untreated versus treated photo. This was kind of a poor irrigation coverage photo. You can see that it's along the edges of the beds and things where there's some irrigation. Even this hose line helps with your poor irrigation. So delaying wilt, this is probably where you see the best results, I believe. I've done some side-by-side comparisons too. I have a bunch of photos here, but this was, I think, 4 days without water. You can see on the left and right. Here's a Lowe's in Texas. So, you'll want to keep your plants alive longer, shelf life longer. So this was 100-degree temperatures for 2 days. So they did one control, 100 degrees. Your plants they're gonna feel the grunt of that pretty good. This was a week without water. I think down in Florida, I believe you can see the differences here too. So this is poinsettias. Just plants treated with Hydretain were larger in size, retained more leaves, developed larger roots, and I'll get into kind of the application process. There's a bunch of different ways you can apply this product. We did some research with the University of Illinois. This is kind of where I was talking about the bounce back ability too. So project day one, and this is comparing all three of the products with the control. So you don't notice much of a difference. It's whatever application you like. So there's liquid or QD product and then our OC product. So the QD product is a quick dissolve, and then our OC product is just the organic compost granular. You can see day 12, they're still all looking pretty good, but by day 19 there, that the control on the right side is not doing great. And then see day 20 there, that's where they watered again. So the bounce back ability is great to see. And this was with, I believe, tomatoes or peppers, I want to say. But again, severe drought by day 30 there. And then the bounce back ability. Look at the one on the right, not looking so hot. As long as you can prolong your plants as long as possible. This was actually a distributor in Michigan. They were gone for 4th of July, treated the pots, hanging baskets, probably some high wind situation there too. Really dried out, but 4 days without water, came back. His plants were fine. This was also at another distributor. They did a side-by-side research there. You can just see how full the plants are. But wanted to go into nutrient uptake. Western Illinois did a study, I think last year, 2 years ago, about the NPKs. They also did some sulfur, calcium, magnesium, boron, manganese, and copper. They saw about a 31% increase in your nutrient uptake. So I believe kind of this is, with it attaching to the root hairs, it helps those NPKs kind of get grabbed into the soil and turned back into the water droplets where the plant can use it. So this is where, the price of fertilizer can be very expensive, things like that. If we can help your fertilizers work, it's a great opportunity for you. Going into seeding. So Penn State did kind of a seed germination trial. There you can see it's pretty thin on the two left controls, and there on the right, we got some great growth. I've done some of these I think we did one for the Equipment Expo, which is next week, a couple years ago, but we saw like a 30% increase in germination. I just had our little boxes at the booth. Saw a great increase in germination there. And how many are laying sod? Do you water it enough? Does it get watered at all after you lay it? Is it a commercial job where they just lay it and you expect the homeowner to, are they they're going to water it one time and say, oh, it's good, right? So one thing with the sod, I always don't do it as like a pre-plant thing. Lay it over the top of the sod and then water it in so it gets kind of through that thatch layer of the sod into those roots. That's where we see the best results. I kind of touched on this earlier too, but you got your winter months. Even when I was at Mariani, we did a lot of winter evergreen pots and things like that. Those tend to dry out if they don't freeze necessarily. So There's things like that where you can keep the wind desiccation down. With annuals, some people will do pre-planting, mix it with the soil medium, things like that. Or they'll have a bucket of the pre-mixed liquid, dip the annuals into the bucket, then plant your annual. That way you got it on there, and then obviously we got our drought conditions, things like that. And then we get into the fall seedings. I'll run this YouTube video at the end. It's a good one. It's basically we had two 27-day plants next to each other, and you can see they took a photo each day of how quickly they dry out. But obviously these markets, we have greenhouse growers, nursery markets. You obviously want to extend your shelf life as long as possible. You want to reduce your returns and waste. So we have some studies here too, where they did a water only, then they went to wilt, then they watered again. You can see the difference between Hydretain and water there for some of our main plants that are most of the nurseries and growers, things like that are doing. Different applications. If you prefer the granular option at planting, or you could run it through your fertigation systems and things like that, your overhead irrigation at some of these greenhouses, things like that. It's probably your most cost-effective way of doing it. But you can see the wilted edges on a lot of those plants in the nurseries. So the wineries have been using some of it. You can see the 2 gallons was applied per acre here, injected into the drip irrigation system. This was in Northern California. Plants were watered 2 times per week, and that were untreated slowly, about 25% new growth. So something cool. It's safe on your wine grapes, things like that. We go to strategic planting here in about 2 weeks out in Boston, and typically somebody has a bottle of wine that was harvested from the Hydretain. So it's always cool to see. But how can you market these programs, and why do you need to market these programs? So if you guys are, if you're a lawn care company, things like that, it's a new revenue stream for you. You can reduce your callbacks, replacements, and gain new customers. So we have some of our bigger national accounts and things like that, a Lawn Doctor. They have a HydroGuard program. They are using it, as a water conservation tool, as another upsell as a program. So it's one more sell you can have for a lawn care company. There's also a company down in Austin, Texas, Lush Lawns, or Emerald Lawns, sorry, that does a very good amount of our product. They call it WET, Water Efficiency Treatment Program. So Texas was very hot this year, and they really liked using the product. So because there's certain times of the year you can't be pushing NPK because it'll burn the grass, things like that. So the aesthetics, cost savings, environmental, so they all kind of match up for your customer market. So here's kind of just some more upsell opportunities and how you can push this to customers, or if you guys are just the end user looking to purchase this product. You reduce your water bills. So reduce your watering up by up to 50%. If you're on well, if you're on city water can be very expensive. We have mailers, things like that. You can easily put AM Leonard, you can put your logo on, things like that to help save. So increase your seed germination. So like I said, we want to have survival rates 30% increase there. We have a seeding flyer that shows that to customers. My tip for the seeding, I would just bill that into the price of seed that you're doing. So if you guys are doing an overseeding for the customer, bill that Hydretain cost into that cost of seed. Because I know seed was very expensive last year. It's gone down a little bit. You can also combat your summer stress, increase water availability to plants, reduce summer stress. We have templates, things like that. You can help sell the service. We have a Hydretain Advantage program that has a lot of these mailers, and I'll get to this here very shortly. But it helps eliminate your dry spots. There is a little bit of surfactant in there, so it will kind of help reduce your localized dry spots also. Like I said, improve irrigation efficiencies. We also have environmentally responsible. Like I said, this is safe on tomatoes, safe on vegetables, things like that. Also drought protection. I've kind of ran over a lot of these already. Minimize your wilting. Like I said, flower beds, shrubs, trees. I'll get into, we have an ArborX program that kind of touches base on all this, but I really wanted to talk hydrotain. And then, water restrictions. Some of the city of Chicago, things like that, if you get caught on, you can only water every other day, things like that. So water restrictions do come into play. But those are all, upsell opportunities if you are, say, a lawn care LCO looking to make some money. Like I said, we do have some mailers and signage. If you're maybe just a homeowner and you're prideful of your lawn, you can stick one of these signs in. Free advertising for both AM Leonard and us. This lawn stays green by using up to 50% water. So we also have these mailers and things like that. Drought season's coming. Get ahead of a lot of the drought. The one, like I was saying, we do see recovery from the drought products, but I will say I have always noticed better results to maybe apply this end of May, early June, where you get your 3-month control, but it's before the drought conditions hit. So you always see better results before the drought conditions kind of hit there. Going off of, what AM Leonard kind of has here, I looked up, they have the hose-on sprayer, which is nice to a lot of the homeowners like that. That'll cover, about 5,000 square foot. The 1 gallon jugs cover about 14,000 square foot. It's all whatever preference you prefer, whatever equipment you have. They both, I do say they both work very similarly. I will say with the hose-on sprayer, if you are kind of applying that to a yard, it does come out pretty quickly. So make sure you're kind of moving along, doing it very evenly throughout the yard, and then make sure you do water it in after. It needs to get watered in about a 1/4 inch down into that root surface. There's the liquid bottles. We do also have the Hydretain OC, granular OC. The 15-pound bags, I know, will cover about 6,000 square foot. And then the 40 pounders will cover about 14,000, I think 800 actually. Some of the LCOs and lawn care companies I see kind of like the granular because you don't need to water it in as quickly as the liquid. If you are doing the liquid, I do suggest try to water that in within 12 to 24 hours. Try to get that watered in through that thatch layer and into the profile there. So with the granular, you get a little bit more leeway. I'd say try to get it watered in within 5 days, because if there's some dew on the ground and things like that, they might start breaking down. Try to get it watered in as quickly as possible. But 40-pound bags, 3 bags do an acre. So if you're looking to cover acreage, do bigger sizes and stuff if needed. Also, if you guys, I don't know if there are garden centers, things like this, Drew, I know we have these pallet displays if you're looking to do this too. So there's an opportunity to do pallet displays and things like that. We have these pre-made.
Yeah, some of our customers, I don't know which customers are actually online, but I know we have garden centers and different customers and retail settings. So
great. Yeah, so these are nice displays that you have front and center. They come kind of pre-packaged, pre-made, everything. You just open them up and they're ready to go. Floor space and things like that is always hard to come by in a lot of the garden centers. So try to make it easy on you. But like I said, just wanted to go over kind of the rates and things like that. There's all these different ways you can apply it. So turf grass, spread it or spray it. But spreading, 2.7 pounds per thousand. Like I said, 40-pound bags would be about 3 bags per acre. Spraying, I always recommend the 9-ounce initial rate. We do have, golf courses and things like that. They are doing a monthly rate at 3 ounces per thousand. So it's not set in stone what that rate is. You can spray to whatever your needs are. But we see that about 9-ounce rate will get you about 3 months. It just breaks down like any other fertilizer, any other carbon source, microbes will break it down. So that's why it kind of breaks down at that 3-month range. But flowers and color installments, like I said, you could drench, pre-plant dip, like I said, but everything is usually about 2 ounces per gallon is what you're looking at. And then with the OC or QD, you got about 1 pound per 100 square foot bed. And then with trees and shrubs, I didn't have too many pictures of trees and shrubs here, but we have a lot of new plantings. They don't get watered enough. Municipalities can only make it around so long to get around to water. You could always dump it into watering bags too, things like that. Get it down into that soil. Typically, that is with the drenching rate there also 2 ounces per gallon of water. That's kind of all I mostly have on, the Hydretain there. I kind of went through it pretty quickly, I think. Trent, is there anything you want to add to it?
I think it's a great option for trees and shrubs with the Hydretain. And if you want something a little more than Hydretain, the NutriRoot also has the Hydretain in it, but it also has the seaweed extract, and that may be better for trees and shrubs. So that's another option. But you're only going to get a month out of the, helping with the water in that sense. But I think Hydretain is unique, and like Zach said, I think it can be used at all times because it's really going to enhance everything else that you do. By the way, it pulls the water into the plant. It's just going to make everything better.
Yeah, appreciate it. Hydretain, you can see, is one of our main components of our Arbrex program. So we've had a lot of success with this program, but I just want to illustrate if a lot of you guys are planting trees and shrubs here, we have a nice bubble chart. Say you have low organic material in your soils and things like that. We have some products that fit your needs that AM Leonard offers that kind of fit your tree and soil condition needs there. And like I said, a product NutriRoot is kind of a combination of Hydretain, Cytogrow, and some Enviroplex there. So it's kind of a combination product, but it's great for new plantings. So, and then I just wanted, our ArborJet side of business here, if anybody's interested, we have our pest program planner that really, any insects, any time of treatments, we have products that AM Leonard offers up. They also offer the equipment to really go after these pests because there's new and evolving pests all the time. So also we kind of cover, like I said, we have our whole team here. I got to update this a little bit. I got to Matt Campbell's down in the south now for the Ecologel side, but you can see we're all across the country. Like I said, I kind of cover more of the Ecologel products, and then we have our tree and landscape that we overlap a lot of the areas. So we have a great tech team here that can help out with all your needs and any questions that you guys might have. Happy to help you guys out. Drew, do you have any kind of questions off the top of mind that you can think of that I didn't touch on?
No, I was in the lawn care business for about 20 years before being at AM Leonard, and we used a lot of different things, from yucca extracts and things like that to try and help. They're more surfactants and things to try and get the water down into the ground. This is the first thing I've ever seen that actually attaches to the root and really pulls the water and the moisture into the root zone. Really incredible tech. Like I said, I've been doing this for a long time on the lawn care side and seen a lot of different things, working with some of the biggest names in the industry, and I'm excited about this. I use it on my lawn and my plants, and we have a lot of employees here that have used it as well, and it works great. So we're true believers, and so we're excited about being partners with you guys and being able to bring this to other customers.
Yeah, I mean, I forgot to kind of mention this. It was developed, and it's been around for a decent amount of time, but it was developed in Australia to kind of combat the dust in the mines. So they used it as a dust control, and then kind of moved it onto plants and turf. Didn't harm anything. It's safe on vegetables. So that's kind of how it was developed. I forgot to touch on that, just so as a little background story for you guys. But does anybody else have questions? Happy to take questions at this time.
All right. Well, if nobody else has any questions or anything, thank you guys for joining us. I know your time is valuable. Hopefully this was educational for you, gave you some insight and some ideas about a product that you may be able to find helpful in your business. And if you have any other questions, or you're interested in doing a trial or anything like that, please contact your account manager, and they'll be happy to get you any information you need, and work with you on getting anything set up. Thank you guys. Thank you everybody for your time, and thank you guys from ArborJet and Ecology, Zach, Trent, for your guys' time and putting this on for us.
Appreciate it. Thank you for having us.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.